Welcome back, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Daily Take. I am your host, John Flynn, and thank you so much for listening to the Daily Take, everybody. What an amazing game last night in Seattle. That game had the feel of playoffs. That game had the feeling everything could have happened. Russell Wilson throwing dimes to Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf early. The Rams chipping away at Seattle scoring drives. The Rams had a chance to stay in the game. Late interception by Seattle on a beautiful dive in the end. Missed field goal to end the game. This game had it all. But let me tell you something. That came out of this game that was played in honor of the late owner, Paul Allen. The late Seahawks owner, that is. But this was what came out of it. Russell Wilson is a top 5 quarterback in this league. Russell Wilson put on an absolute show for the Seattle faithful with the amazing crowd on hand. He completed 17 to 23 passes, 268 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. And for the season, a 73% completion rate, 1,409 yards, 12 touchdowns, no interceptions, and a passer rating of 126.9. This is next level competition for Russell Wilson. He's done an unbelievable job protecting the football, spreading the ball around to so many different receivers, like he's been doing his entire NFL career. General Manager John Snyder was outstanding in beefing up Seattle's offense with the addition of DK Metcalf in the draft. I think DK Metcalf is one of the steals in the draft, and it's showing up early. Will Dissly was outstanding at tight end last night. Brian Schottenheimer, as much as we like to give him a knack, he's doing an excellent job calling the plays, keeping opposing defenses honest, mixing up the plays, the types of plays, and his play calling has gotten better and better since the season started. Now, Seattle's 4-1 of the season. They just beat the rival Rams at home in a divisional game that could have gone either way. They have some winnable games in the next several weeks. They've got Cleveland. They've got Arizona again. They got the Niners before the bye week. What a difference he made last night. You can make the argument that Seattle is one of the most rounded NFL teams right now. They're buzzing on offense. Their defense is getting to the quarterback in closeout situations. Yeah, the Seattle Seahawks announced to the world they are a legitimate contender for the Super Bowl from the NFC. Meanwhile, the Rams. Yes, the Rams started 3-0. But I've had issues with the Rams since the start of the season and dating back to last season. And 3 issues in particular come to light. Actually, you can argue 4 as well. The running game without a healthy Todd Gurley, protecting the football, quarterback play, secondary. I asked myself when outlooking the Rams this year, how much of Todd Gurley's 100% health will show up throughout the season? Listen, Todd Gurley hasn't been 100%, and we know that, and it's been well chronicled. But Todd Gurley has been good, but not top 10 good. Gurley ran for 2 touchdowns last night, giving him 5 for the season. But the Rams' offense goes next level when Todd Gurley is healthy, which leads me to my next point, protecting the football. The Rams have committed 9 turnovers over the last 3 weeks. Jared Goff threw a late pick against the Browns in prime time, but that was masked because of the poor play calling from Freddie Kitchens at the time, and they won by only 7. Then, last week against Tampa, they threw the ball 68 times in 89 offensive snaps. The result was a loss to Tampa Bay in Los Angeles, and Jared Goff threw 3 interceptions. When was the last time you saw a team win a game where they threw the ball 70 times? I don't recall. Now go to the game last night. Jared Goff threw the ball 49 times last night, and Seattle was anticipating that much of the game, and that anticipation finally came up to fruition for Seattle's defense with the interception by Thompson with little over 2 minutes left. Now, their secondary couldn't keep up with Russell Wilson's trickery and mastery last night, and the defense remained off balance as a result of it. Chris Carson was quite effective running the ball, running for 118 yards on 27 carries, which sets up play action when you have mobile quarterbacks like they've seen the last 2 weeks in Jameis Winston and Russell Wilson, and it's almost impossible to stop those types of talents because they couldn't stop their running backs in Ronald Jones and Chris Carson. This was a problem the Rams had last year in the first half, a problem that was masked by the unbelievable playmaking abilities on the other side of the ball. I believed going into last night's game it was going to be a competitive game, but Seattle is more complete. They have fewer issues. They had a driving force for the victory last night, playing in honor of Paul Allen. But the bottom line is that last night was a tremendous night for the Seattle Seahawks. Now, on to last night's Braves-Cardinals game. And the Braves were home in Game 1. They had the feel of must-win for the Braves, with Jack Flaherty looming for tonight's Game 2. The Braves really needed to win that game last night, and the Braves were perfectly set up to win until Chris Martin comes in and points to his oblique during warm-ups before the 8th inning last night. And this leads me to a critique I have on managers come postseason time and managing bullpens. And yes, the way managing in the playoffs compared to the regular season has dramatically changed over the years. And Brian Snitker can tell us the Braves can win a game when their starting pitcher goes 4 2/3 innings in the playoffs. Their most prized free agent starting pitcher in a while, in years, goes 4 2/3 and allows 1 run in the playoffs. And he's done after 74 pitches. Yes, Darren O'Day came in to get Paul Goldschmidt out because of the matchups. Yeah, you don't want the lefty facing Goldschmidt. But when Miles Mikolas went 5 innings, Braves fans should have been a little nervous because of the crazy bullpen usage both managers were set to undertake, especially in a National League setting where you have the pitcher batting. And don't forget, the Cardinals made a lot of mistakes too, both on the base pass and on the field the first 8 innings of the game. That gruesome error that allowed 2 runs to score in the bottom of the 6th off a bad bounce, which Colton Wong couldn't pick up. And the third base coach not giving Colton Wong the stop signal as he was rounding third base to score in the to try to score in the 8th inning. But then Mark Melancon imploded. He came into the game with a 3-2 lead, needing 4 outs for the save. Couldn't get the job done. This felt like a punch to the gut for the Atlanta Braves. The game they really needed to win and now have to face potentially going down 2-0 with facing the hottest pitcher of the National League over the last 6 to 10 weeks in Jack Flaherty. Atlanta will look at Game 1 and look at taking advantage of St. Louis miscues and taking advantage of mistakes if they don't play baseball past next week. I've always had a knack about managers and how they utilize their bullpen in playoff series, using all these pitching moves, delaying the game in the process. The Braves pitching had major concerns going into the season, and it took until the absolute worst time possible to have that concern exposed. Meanwhile, Walker Buehler was absolutely, positively phenomenal for the Dodgers last night. The best big-name pitcher on their staff, 6 scoreless innings, 8 strikeouts, 1 hit, 3 walks last night against the hottest team in the league in the Washington Nationals, coming off its biggest win in franchise history a couple of nights earlier. That's the type of pitching the Dodgers have waited for since last October, when Walker Buehler kept showing up in big moments. He's been doing it since he came up last year as a rookie. He did it all this year. He did it again last night. Because the Dodgers season in essence began last night. Any result other than a World Series win would result in the season ending in utter failure after losing the last 2 years in the Fall Classic to the Astros and the Red Sox. And on the other side, the Nats bullpen showed me why I didn't have Washington being that special last night. Down 2-0 in the 7th with a chance to keep your team in the game against the Dodgers bullpen. The Nats bullpen gives up 2 in the 7th and 2 in the 8th to virtually end any discussion of coming back last night. Davey Martinez had no clue what he was doing last night, either with the managing the bullpen. Just saying. That's going to do it for this edition of the Daily Take. Thank you so much for listening to this. I am John Flynn. Like, subscribe, comment down below what you think about this. And I'll be back soon on the Daily Take.